City of Stevens Point Public Policy and General Government Committee meeting, recorded August 8, 2022.
And clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Fischler.
Here.
Kiemer. Here. Christensen.
Here.
Zarazua.
Here.
Kneebone.
Oh, here. All right, and we have a quorum. Agenda item number 2 is the license list. So let's see here. It looks like we have a change of scheduled agent for Quick Trip. Class B licenses, or license for pallets and planks. A Class A beer and liquor license for the store, number 55. It looks like there's 3 locations, number 55, number 57, and number 58. And then, let's see here. A temporary extension of premise, does that need to be taken separately, or no? Okay. So that's a temporary extension of premise for Pete's Sports Bar and Grill at 200 Division Street. And then 2 temporary licenses for Class B beer, wine, and license, or beer and wine licenses. One is for the Hmong American Association of Portage County. Looks like that's taking place September 10th through 11th, 2022. And then temporary license for the Wine Walk, and that'll be August 19th, 2022. That sounds exciting. It looks like there's multiple locations for the Wine Walk, and they added additional location as well. And would anybody like to make a motion to approve these?
So moved as listed in the agenda.
Okay, Alder Christensen, seconded by Kiemer?
Yes.
Okay, and are there any concerns?
None with the PD.
Okay.
No concerns.
All right. All those, is there any concern from the audience? Anyone online? No? Okay.
Nobody online.
Oh, that's a first.
It is a first in a long time.
Maybe they're on the Wine Walk. Just kidding. All those in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. None. That is approved. All right. And item number 3 is to request and hold an event street closing for Pointtoberfest and the Blubber Run 5K. So that'll be September 17th, 2022, and that's a reoccurring event. And is there a motion?
Alder Kiemer, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second? I'll second. Oh, seconded by Zarazua. Are there any questions, concerns by the police department?
There are no concerns.
Okay. Any questions, concerns from the committee? No? Any questions, concerns from the, there's nobody in the chairs, okay, and then.
Vinny, I got you.
Yes. And then nobody online, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. None being heard, that is approved. Okay, and it looks like item number 4 is a resolution for the advisory referendum for adult use of marijuana. And Alder Kneebone, would you like to take the floor?
I'm getting there, yes, since, again, I was approached by a group of people in light of lowering the fine last month. They thought this might be a good idea. There were suggestions to reach out to our elected officials, and this seemed like a good way to let the city, people in the city, weigh in on what they really think about the whole idea. So it was a rather inexpensive addition to the November ballot. I reached out to Chief Cuso, who thought it was not a bad idea. Seems like, why not? Find out what citizens really think. And it does not bind anybody to anything. It's advisory only, so it doesn't cost the city, doesn't commit the city to anything or anybody. So in light of that, I would move to approve placing it on the ballot in November. So, open discussion then.
Is there a second? Okay, second by Zarazua. Discussion? Mayor?
So my only question, and it doesn't matter to me either way if we do this, but my question is, what do we hope to achieve? We had a statewide referendum in 2018 that talked about exactly the same thing. So if we're looking at what the public wants, we already have that data. But I'm just curious as to what the hope is and whether or not this will actually achieve whatever that desire is.
It's been a while since that referendum, and I don't know, can you break that data out by the city, or?
Yep, absolutely.
I think we've taken some steps since then. I'd like to find out where people stand now. So that's, and again, it was the request of some other folks in the city, so figured why not? City seems to want to rule by referendum these days, so.
Fair point.
So you're in favor of referendums?
So what I'm hearing is, no.
Indeed.
No, and to follow up, I think it's a good idea to gauge this. It's just, what do you then do with that information? If our goal is to use that information to lobby the state to get off their butts and do something about it, then that should be
This
considered
could
as
be a
part of
starting
that.
point.
Well, but we already did that in 2018, and they overwhelmingly said yes.
Well, if I may, Mayor, I did read an article today. I was doing some research just before our meeting today. And it looks like we wouldn't be the only city that we'd be putting it to referendum. It looks like
Right.
there's a host of other cities that are looking to take this to the ballot in November. And looks like the counties of Dane, Eau Claire, Milwaukee, cities of Appleton, Kenosha, Racine have all approved advisory referenda meant to gauge public opinion on legalization. So they're all non-binding referendums that just to express support for marijuana reform and not to actually change anything. And then taking that data and I think presenting that to the state. It's my understanding.
So we have a,
I guess that's my question, though, is like, who is going to be responsible for saying to our lawmakers at the state level, here's the results of our referendum?
Perhaps someone on this committee would do a referendum that says the city of Stevens Point urges down the line. I mean, this could lead to something like that, I suspect.
Oh, yes. Did you want to speak?
May I want the committee to, when they're done.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak? No? Okay, go ahead. President Johnson.
Good evening. Great discussion as always. Thank you. Melissa Johnson, 5th District. And I think I had mentioned this before. When I was on county board for 2 years, I was an ambassador from the county board to the legislature, and I worked with Chair Haga. We would frequently go down to Madison and have lovely conversations with our legislative delegation and other leaders at the Capitol. And we frequently had that conversation with our legislative leaders saying, the people of Portage County spoke about this topic. Please listen to us. What are you going to do for us? Now, we know that, I agree, Mr. Mayor, nothing happened, but maybe like a petulant child who keeps asking for, something sweet after dinner that they're not supposed to have, but you keep asking, you don't give up. This is important, and it's about fairness and equity. And so what does it look like in the future? Let's say this passes, and we join forces with Appleton and Racine and Kenosha and all those other counties, and once again, go to Madison. We empower the League of Wisconsin Municipalities to represent us. We do ask them to do that. So there are a lot of avenues. I think thinking about whoever does that, we as a body could pack up, go to Madison and have a legislative day and sit in the offices and ask the legislators, what are you going to do for us? We represent the people, you represent the people, and the people just spoke. Can you help us? So I think there's ways. I don't want that to get in the way of an opportunity to once again gauge on this topic. So that's all. Thank you.
Yes, in the back. Come to the podium, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Vincent Moresi. I'm from District 1. Mark Christensen is my alder, and I'm actually the Portage County representative for District 1. So back in 2018, I did author and submit the medical marijuana referendum to Portage County. We did get it on the ballot. At that time, we had 83% of Portage County residents voted in favor of legalizing medical marijuana. It was a non-binding advisory referendum. So where did it go? It went to Wisconsin Counties Association. It went to the governor's desk. It went to our legislators and senators. I think if this does pass today and go on to the full city council, we could make a friendly amendment in here to include that kind of information to who you want it to go to, who you want to send it to, because what we're doing is basically lobbying and advocating on Portage County's residents, well, in this case, Stevens Point's residents, to get their voice heard. I didn't think this was ready for the Portage County Board, so I did ask Alder Kneebone, and a group of us asked Alder Kneebone to sponsor it and submit it moving forward. And the main reason was just the county board has seen some shifts, and I don't think I could get it out of committee. So rather than watch it fail in committee, I was really hoping that we could have success with the city, because I think the city is ready for it. There's a lot of information. I think you may have had some information in your packet, but you know, basically 37 states have legalized recreational marijuana. States and cities and counties are paying for roads and bridges and schools and all the things that we don't have money for, right? And they're specifically allocating taxes on cannabis reform for these projects. So those are the places we need it most. We can't fill potholes anymore. We need to place roads and sewers and all sorts of infrastructure. We can't afford to put these security systems in at schools, and we need other funding sources. I have no doubt that the state of Wisconsin can probably pay for a lot of stuff with their habitual use of cannabis. So there are huge economic benefits to this right now. Law enforcement, I don't want to speak on behalf of all police departments, but the police officers I have talked to, DA, prosecutors, they have better things to do with their time than prosecute cannabis, crimes of small nickel bags of weed or things like that for college kids getting in trouble. They have more important crimes to prosecute. DA wouldn't even, when I talked to DA Malewski way back when, he wasn't even prosecuting. He was deferring those types of cases just to make sure that people weren't being prosecuted for something as petty as a small amount of marijuana. In regards to our local economy, we have many, many, many entrepreneurs in our area who could actually start businesses and provide economic opportunities for themselves and others working for them. We have $1 billion a year industry currently in our agriculture sector in Portage County. If we're able to cultivate and manufacture and distribute cannabis legally in Portage County, we're looking at many, 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 many millions of dollars coming right back to our county. So I really think we have an opportunity to do some good with this rather than continuing to persecute it. We also have a huge opioid dependency problem in our county, in our city in general, and part of that. Part of the relief of opioid dependence is allowing people to use the medicine of their choice. And if they can do that simply through medical marijuana or whether it's smokable or edible, and they can find the relief that they need and not be addicted to these harmful substances, we're looking at a net positive for our community. Again, 83% voted in favor of medical marijuana legalization. I'm really hoping that you can pass this on to the full county, the full city, so we can see some meaningful change and representation from the central part of the state. Because like you noted, there are counties, Rock County also has it on the ballot, and many other cities in our state. So thanks for your time, and I really hope you can push this forward. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor.
So to keep going with this, we're still lobbying I was recently in front of, in a meeting with an unnamed Speaker of the House, and when we brought up the use of medical marijuana or the legalization of medical marijuana, he didn't say no. So we are making progress. And what I would suggest is that if this resolution passes, that as part of the resolution, we direct our staff to share this with every single legislator in the state and the governor's office. And we could do that as part of this resolution, just whatever the results are, share those with our legislators. And then the other question that I have is that the question reads, for the advisory referendum, should marijuana be legalized for adult use, taxed and regulated like alcohol? Do we mean marijuana or do we mean THC? Because marijuana would not include edibles. Marijuana is the plant.
Probably to include edibles. I actually know someone who's an MS patient whose son acquires it in a state where it's legal and brings it to a state where it's not legal for her to use, and she prefers the edibles. I have no idea.
On camera.
I'm not an expert on that by any means, but I have some friends who use it that way. And they're the people I have in mind when I support this. I think the tax revenue that could be put into schools and infrastructure and treatment of addiction of other drugs could be a godsend for the state, for the citizens. So,
So I'll restate the question. Instead of marijuana, should we replace it with THC, for example?
Oh.
I'm not an expert.
I was thinking. Go ahead if you would like to take the podium again. It's okay.
Thank you again. I do see the concern. This is how it's being presented statewide and how at least the lawyers that I have talked to have recommended we move forward with this. I would highly recommend, you could probably ask your city attorney, or I could get you references to find out if maybe it would be like, should marijuana, all forms of THC be legalized for adult use and taxed and regulated like alcohol. This is the plain legal language that people understand. It's not like other referendums that I've read recently that I don't understand.
Yeah, but when 83% in the state referendum say they want something,
They want something.
we should listen
Yeah.
to if there's a survey for 80-some%.
So, I mean, I don't know a process with city council, but I mean, you could have a friendly amendment later down the line to include that, or you may want to talk to the legal representatives first, and I'd be happy to get that information to you. So,
I would suggest something like and related products or something like that be added to it.
Is the city attorney present or no? Okay.
No, what I would suggest is if you're going to approve it as such, and then seek the advice of the city attorney
Sure.
and any other resources you think, because we can always change it before council. Council can approve different words, or you can even amend it on the floor. Oh, he is here.
Look there.
Hi. Would you
Never
please-
mind.
So I did review the document that was included in here, and the one thing I would mention is that it makes a reference to Chapter 59, which is counties. And that is the provision that allows for county boards to create these, or to place on the ballot these advisory referenda. I wasn't able to locate an analogous statute in the context of a city council. However, I think certainly city councils have the authority to create those types of things. It's just that, if the council wants to move forward with this, we'll just need to either change or remove that reference to Chapter 59, because it just doesn't make any sense. But I think whatever the consensus is of this body tonight, myself and the clerk can, in the next couple days, put together something for next week that captures that consensus.
There you go.
Good idea.
Excellent.
I don't have a problem with that, tightening it up.
Okay. Are there any other questions for the city attorney while he's here? No?
It's been 4 years, and don't know if attitudes have changed. You know, we may come in at 99% or 38%, which case it tells us a lot.
So just to be clear, is it just to, it's just to gauge, you know, what the pulse of the public is at this point in time?
It's
Yes,
advisory.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
And share it. And share it.
And sharing it with the state officials.
Okay. Is that something we would have to put in as, like, at this moment in time?
You do not,
State
but you
officials.
could.
And
If the goal is to take that information and share it with your legislators.
exactly, yes, and to maybe state in there that the result of the referendum will be shared with all state elected officials, appropriate state elected officials.
That's a
appropriate
lot of
state
letters to
elected
send.
officials.
Emails.
I think they'll probably
I got an email list
clue
already.
in on that.
Email list, yeah.
Logan's worried that he'll have to do it.
So I guess on that note, are there any other comments, questions, public, or anyone in the room? And there's nobody online still? Okay.
Still.
Just wanted to make sure, all right. Well, are we moving forward then? Is that we're voting yes or no to move it forward?
Right.
Okay. So we have a first and a second. Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And that has been approved. Item number 5 is adjournment, and we are at 6:51 p.m.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.